the curtain came down, formally opening the embassy, and the first daughter took the mic.
We welcome you officially and for the first time to the Embassy of the United States here in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivanka Trump, for reminding us to smile while the Holy Land plunges deeper and deeper into eternal conflict. Now, to be fair, opening up a US embassy in Jerusalem was always going to be a little bit dicey. It's like Starbucks gentrifying your neighborhood and then opening up an apartheid-themed amusement park right in the middle of it. This week I was going to do a review of the latest Marvel movie, but due to recent events, I'll be talking about Israel and Palestine, which I think we can all agree is the real Infinity War. Now, a lot of people have made a big deal about the United States' decision to move their embassy to Jerusalem, but the US ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, assures us it's really nothing to worry about.
The location of our embassy has no bearing on the specific boundaries of Israeli sovereignty in Jerusalem or the resolution of contested borders. It has no bearing on Jerusalem's holy sites. It does not prejudge whatever the parties might negotiate in a peace agreement. It does not undermine the prospects for peace in any way.
Hey, relax, guys. We're just affirming that Jerusalem, one of the most contested holy sites in modern history, belongs exclusively to the Jews. Don't read too much into it. Even though we're actively sabotaging any prospect of future peace, we remain committed to peace. So far over the course of the protests, Israel has killed over 60 people, including 6 children. But of course, as usual, Israel and the United States are playing their go-to get-out-of-jail-free card, which is blaming their favorite boogeyman, Hamas.
Documented the Hamas incitement in Gaza.
The responsibility for these tragic deaths rests squarely with Hamas. Hamas is intentionally and cynically provoking this response.
Which is ridiculous because Palestinians have been protesting for their right to return for over 70 years, long before Hamas even existed. There's all kinds of political factions and organizations that Palestinians are aligned with, but dropping Hamas's name is just a quick way to imply that all the protesters are terrorists. And it's a good thing that media outlets didn't just blindly run with this narrative.
What is actually the declared goal of the March of Return on the part of Hamas? That Hamas organizes the Gazans. Hamas organizes the protesters, and you know that. Hamas has indicated that its declared goal is to end the Israeli state.
And as if it wasn't hard enough to shoot protesters at almost point-blank range, Israel now has a new threat to deal with.
They light Molotov cocktails attached to kites on fire and attempt to fly them into Israel to cause as much destruction as possible.
Kites. Terrorist kites. Kites with Molotov cocktails attached to them that fly over a fence and sometimes land on some grass and sometimes set fire to the grass. How can Israel possibly defend itself from these kamikaze kites? All they have at their disposal is the Iron Dome system, a missile interception program that can stop rockets and missiles, around $4 billion a year in military funding from the US, an air force, Apache helicopters, and drones. Do you know how many people have been injured and hurt by these kites? 0. Literally no one. Now you might be thinking, Amir, you're biased. Of course you'd think that. You probably read that in your copy of Hamas Daily. Actually, the Times of Israel said that in their own article about the terror kites. Some far right-wing Israelis tried to fly their own burning kites into Gaza, but they just ended up landing in Israel. In addition to burning kites, we also know that Palestinians have used other homemade weapons to threaten Israel's fence, like civilians, journalists, medical staff, and children. And because we know the Trump administration is so even-handed when it comes to violent clashes, let's take a look at what was happening side by side. This was Jerusalem, and this was Gaza. At least in the middle of the chaos, there was some recognition that Jerusalem is symbolically vital to 3 of the world's great Abrahamic religions. One of the guests at Ivanka's little soiree was Pastor Robert Jeffress, who was invited to pray for the embassy.
Islam is wrong. It is a heresy from the pit of hell. Mormonism is wrong. It is a heresy from the pit of hell.
Yeah.
Judaism, you know, you can't be saved being a Jew. You know who said that, by the way? The 3 greatest Jews in the New Testament, Peter, Paul, and Jesus Christ. They all said, Judaism won't do it. It's faith in Jesus Christ. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
He seems nice. Seems nice. Well, that's optimistic. Thanks for watching. See you next time.